hey kids, it's been a while since we did this. And this is actually the last time that I can speak sitting in this greenhouse, because this weekend it's going to get torn down, and I'm going to build us a brand new greenhouse. Actually, my son-in-law Mike's going to do most of the hard work, but here in another month I should have a brand new greenhouse that actually functions as a greenhouse instead of as a storage room like this one's been for the last year. So I haven't done much out here. But endings are always kind of sad, right? Things do come to an end. And again, the idea of this is for me to share some of my life stories with my grandkids, so that when I am gone, there'll be some record, and you'll know some of the things that my life was like when I was growing up. And so I think one of the stories that I haven't ever really told is about when my dad left. You know, I mean, nobody's no secret that when I was 13 years old, my dad left, and I never really talked much about my dad. So here's the story of my dad from my perspective, anyway. My dad was handicapped. My dad had rheumatoid arthritis from the time that he was 13 years old. He grew up without a father. My grandfather, Owens, was killed when my dad was 6 years old. He was hit by a drunk driver as he was walking down the side of a road. And so my dad pretty much grew up without a dad. And so probably had something to do with his inability to be a very good dad, even though he tried. But when I was growing up, one of the things that my dad liked to do, because he actually had metal hips. He had hip replacements in the mid-60s when it was still pretty new surgery. And so he liked to drive the car. And people really think I'm kidding when I tell them that we would get out of church on a Sunday morning at noon, get in the car, and drive to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, stop at this place called Rebel's Corner. It was kind of a gift shop. Run in, get a pack of crackers, use the bathroom, get back in the car, and then drive all the way back to Powder Springs, and then get up and go to school the next day. And me and my brother sleeping in the back seat of the old Dodge, driving down 411, coming through Maryville, Tennessee in the middle of the night, because we would get up there around 9 o'clock at night, and 6, 7 o'clock at night. And then, because there was no interstates, it was all back roads, so you took old Highway 5 and we wind up through the mountains and up to Cherokee, North Carolina, and over the Smoky Mountain Parkway up to Gatlinburg, and then we would come home the faster way down 411 through Maryville and Knoxville and back down into Cartersville and home. So a route that I was very familiar with. And so the thing was that my dad would say, we're going to go for a ride, and me and my brother would just, oh no, we have to get in the car and endure being in the car for the next however many hours. And when we finally got old enough, my brother was like 15, 16, when my parents said, hey, we're going for a ride, do you want to go? And we would say, no, we'd like to stay home and not get in the car and sit in the back seat for the next 9 hours of our lives looking at things we've seen 100 times. And so we got to stay at home. And so this particular afternoon, my mom and dad came in and said, we're going to go for a ride. And we were like, okay, we'll see you, tomorrow. And they took off and they went out, and like within 45 minutes, they're back in the driveway. And they're just sitting out in the driveway. Me and my brother, I remember, we're looking out the window going, what in the world's going on out there? And then my mom got out of the car, and she was obviously very unhappy. And me and my brother are sitting there going, okay, now what's going on? And then my mom came in and proceeded to start grabbing all of my dad's clothes out of the closet and taking them and throwing them out into the carport. And you don't understand, old cars, back in the day, cars used to drip oil. That was just a thing that old cars would do. They would drip oil, and you'd always have like some cat litter out on the oil spill in the carport to dry it up. And my mom is chunking my dad's clothes and aiming for the oil spill and the cat litter because she was so furious. And my dad didn't even come in, as I recall. My dad just stayed out there. And he's out in the car, he's picking up his clothes and throwing them in the trunk. And I just remember I was sitting in my brother's room, and we were just looking at each other like something serious is happening here. And then my mom said, "Yep, your dad's in love with another woman. He's leaving us, and he's gone." And that was one of those life-changing moments for me. My life was never ever going to be the same from that moment on. And I can't say that my dad was ever mean to me. My dad was kind of not there for me most of my growing up life, and certainly my adolescent, teenage life, and young adult life. Was pretty absent and not very connected. I never thought my dad hated me or anything. I just felt like my dad was involved in himself more than he was interested in being involved in my life. And so that was why when I grew up and started, thinking about getting married and having a family, my commitment was that I would never ever do to my children what my dad had done to me. I would never ever let my kids ever feel like they were abandoned, that they weren't cared for, or that I cared more about doing what I wanted to do than being involved and paying attention to them. And I certainly feel like I did a pretty good job of that. I'm sure I failed somewhere along the way, but that's being human, right? But through my love for your parents, I hope that you feel that same resonating love. And I feel like with the grace of God, we were able to break that cycle of disappearing dads that had gone through my family for a couple of generations anyway. So, my life ended and began at that period of time, and just like this greenhouse, we're gonna end it. It'll be gone, but something better is going to be built in the same spot. And so next time we do this, it'll be in a brand new space, and I'll have hopefully a little bit happier story. But I think it's just important that the real stories are out there and that you know what we went through. Anyway, that's the story from the greenhouse tonight, and thank you again. Hope you're having a great day, and salute.